Hello you beautiful people, we are back with another video. Now, I already did a video talking about the Goldvein selection stage, so it only made sense for me to make a video now that we're actually going into round 1. And as you can see, I'm gearing up to teleport in. Boom, got my spot literally right next to the building, and of course, who do I land next to? Someone that's bigger than me. What are the chances of that happening? Literally, if I send my first squad out, I'm getting cooked. He's gonna attack me. If I send it towards the building, yeah, I'm gonna be able to protect it or whatever, but I decided to send out my third squad towards the building. That way I can keep 1 and 2 at home. And what I noticed from him as well, he did not bother sending his first and second squad out either. So we basically took each other out of the game, but I was able to send a third squad into the building. He wasn't able to send his third squad out either. So kind of a win, although I wish I was able to do more straight off the bat. Anyway, that's kind of besides the point. What I'm here to do today is to explain and give you guys a little bit more of some of the gameplay of our Goldvein that took place a week ago. Now, just as a heads up, this is going to be a slightly different take on the Goldvein War because I'm part of the planning / organizing team. My gameplay might not be as exciting as some of our other players because it requires a lot of zooming in and out to see where we needed to send the troops and make sure our communication remained clear and concise. If you do want to see a much cooler, different POV of Goldvein, then I would recommend watching Holdout's video. And also, you might notice that this is actually recorded in edit, the audio at least. And that's because during the war itself, I was on a Discord call to make sure that I was able to communicate with another player called Legend from our alliance to kind of just make sure that, hey, whatever building we need to cover and send people to, we can just say it on voice as opposed to have to type it out to each other. Okay, now that the disclaimers are done, we decided to designate Zone A to the strongest server in the defending side, which was us, 827, because we had the highest number of buildings that were already above 80%, which means that if the attacking side concentrated their forces there, we'd be cooked pretty quickly. And we have the 2 biggest players in our faction, so it only made sense for us to split them across A1 and A6, both of which were at over 80%. Now, the other buildings in the A zone were filled by our 2nd, 3rd and 4th alliances to make sure to bring them down as much as possible before the bottom half of the map opens up 20 minutes later.
Sky's the limit. Feeling sky's the limit. Glen party, I am in it, in it, in it, in it, in it. Feeling sky's the limit. Glen party, I am in it. Feeling sky's the limit. Glen party, I am in it. Last night I met the girl, so I guess now I'm gonna. Last night I met the girl, so I guess now I'm gonna. Feeling sky's the limit. Glen party, I am in it. Feeling sky's the limit. Glen party, I am in it. Na firma do Pod 10, na firma do Pod 10, rola muita putaria. Novinha, então capa, 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 novinha, então capa, teta. Firma do Pod 10, firma do Pod 10, firma do Pod 10, firma do Pod 10, firma do De 10 rola muita putaria.
Te bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tente bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tente bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tente bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tente bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tente bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tente bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tente bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tente bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tente bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tente bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tente bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tente bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tente bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tente bater de frente, 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 frente.
We're in pretty good shape right now. Some buildings are creeping higher, but overall, we're handling it quite well. Now, I didn't want to record a straight hour-long clip, so I did space it out, and the next clip you'll see is when the bottom half of the map opens up. This was both a blessing and a curse, as it gives the attacking faction more opportunities to hurt us, but at the same time, it forces them to split up, and therefore making defending easier because they spread thinner. Granted, they have a numerical advantage, of course, but as we all know, every grouping has one or two servers which unfortunately don't have a crazy participation. So despite the numerical advantage, it still feels a little 50-50 in terms of a blessing and a curse.
Esse é o DJ Gutag, um bravo de canal.
Ai, esse é o DJ Gudog, o cachorrão das putas.
DJ Gudog, senta putaria, porra.
Esse é o DJ Gutag, um bravo de canal.
Mas essa é a DJ que representa a mulherada.
Now it can get a little overwhelming whenever you zoom out to see a sea of red, because you do feel like you're losing. You feel like you're basically surrounded, but you just have to make sure to focus on that percentage. And for us, as soon as a building entered the 70 to 80% region, we would send cords to our bigs, who could then orchestrate position swaps as close as possible to the building to get it back under control. Now this is key. Try to get your biggest player as close as possible to the building. You want to reduce their march. As a defender, yes, you have, I think, a 30% speed march increase, but honestly, it's not noticeable. It's slow as hell, and so the closer you are, the better your chances are.
Mas essa é a Titiduca, representa a mulherada.
I tell you what though, this might just be the best event to stack up your kill counts if you're super aggressive. Okay, we're holding on well. We lost one more side building, which, like I said, was inevitable, but this one was dragged on for much longer, which is exactly what we're aiming for. As defending factions, our aim is to waste their time. We want to survive as long as possible, and if that means them wasting an additional 10 to 15 minutes on destroying a building that would otherwise take them 5, that's a win in my books. One thing that did bug me for this event is obviously the attacking faction has the advantage. In fact, for round 1, I believe only a handful of defending teams managed to win. In my opinion, much like a building can be destroyed at 100%, you should get a permanent shield for either the remainder of the whole Goldvein War, or if you feel like that's too OP, then at least for that specific round. Once you reach 0% as the defending faction, you should get a shield that blocks it for that round, because the fact that they can just keep going and keep attacking, it's so unfair. But if you're still telling me that that will somehow tip the scale towards the defending faction, then at least we should get faster march and or more teleports. That's my only gripe with Goldvein. Give us more teleports, especially if it's the ones where you can teleport without the troops having to return back to base. That would be amazing. But most importantly, a much faster march. It's always amazing seeing the bigs move into a building just as it's about to get destroyed. Rio from 890 managed to jump in as the building neared 94%, and I gotta say, as an attacker, that must be so demoralizing. Goldvein truly is a playground for the mega whales, because they can single-handedly clear these buildings of 50, 60, 70 squads. It's insane.
Espadinha no chão. Espadinha no chão.
With approximately 20 minutes left to go, I felt like they were definitely concentrating a lot of their forces in specific areas. Zone A in particular, as you guys have seen, Zone B is all blue and buildings were basically at 0%, pretty much the same for Zone G and H. Zone A, on the other hand, was constantly shifting between being red and blue, but most importantly, the percentage numbers were a little too high for my liking. Now, of course, I said it before, we can't expect to save all the buildings, but the fact that we had Zone A as a server, I wanted to make sure we kept as much of it as possible. Call it an ego thing if you want.
Rebola no meu caralho, rebola no meu caralho, rebola no meu, rebola no meu, rebola no meu caralho, rebola no meu caralho, rebola no meu caralho, rebola no meu, rebola no meu, rebola no meu caralho.
Now, in the final 10 minutes was when things got spicy. Our priority was definitely the 1 buildings, and by that I mean A1, B1, C1, D1. And as you can see, A1 was taking a beating. It was really hard to try and get our 2 biggest players, that would be Holdout and Jay, to secure a spot as close as possible. But eventually we got it done and the swap was pulled off effortlessly.
Você quer sexo agressivo, vou deixar sua bunda ardendo, vou dar tapa, 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 tapa.
Quatro paredes, eu vou acabar contigo. Oi, quatro paredes, eu vou acabar contigo. Oi. Em quatro paredes, eu vou acabar contigo. Oi.
It was time for A2 to go, which is a real shame because they fought extremely well and hard for basically 55 minutes. Now I know, I'm going to repeat myself once more, it's okay to lose the side building, but to lose it in the last 5 minutes obviously sucks, especially because the alliances we had set up there were on the smaller side, so a win there would have done heaps of good for the morale of the alliance. With that being said though, bigger picture, we were absolutely dominating throughout the map, so we've got to keep it pushing. Now, we needed everyone that was at A2 to move to A5.
Feeling sky's the limit. Feeling sky's the limit. Brooklyn party, I am in it, in it, in it, in it, in it. Feeling sky's the limit. Brooklyn party, I am in it. Feeling sky's the limit.
In the final 3 minutes, any sub 10% buildings weren't going to get destroyed, so we asked them to move to buildings with higher percentage to bring them down in preparation for the following week. Just so you're aware, the percentage remains until the following week. So the more you can bring down to sub 10%, the better you're set up for the following week.
Na firma do Pod 10, na firma do Pod 10, rola muita putaria. Novinha, então capa, 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 novinha, então capa, teta. Firma do Pod 10, firma do Pod 10, firma do Pod 10, firma do Pod 10,
So to recap week 1, we lost 3 side buildings, that's a total of 120 points for the attackers. At the time, I thought we could have done better, especially on the building we lost super early in the game, but literally a few minutes later, once I asked around and saw what other defending factions did, we did amazing. So we'll take that huge W into next week and try to do even better. Now, it's time for me to hop around and get some more kills because it is a Saturday and I'm aware that people aren't going to be too pleased about it, but if you don't want to be hit, don't stay in the mud. With that being said, I'm going to bounce. Have a wonderful day. Peace.
Te bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tem te bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tem te bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tem te bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tem te bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tem te bater de frente, 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 frente. Não tem te bater